Guys, we made it to the final lesson of the Blue Rose trading tier. Give yourselves a round of applause. Very well done. We only have a little one to cover, and as we can see, it is all about session times, as you would have seen by the title of this. But session times is real quick to go over, but there is some important stuff that we need to know. So, obviously, first thing to know is that there is, of course, 3 major sessions. There is also a Sydney session, but I mean, it's not really classed as a session. It's basically the same as Tokyo, just starts a couple hours before. Not much volume in there at all. But speaking of volume, that is what we need to talk about. Actually, first, the Tokyo session, this is local time on Tokyo, London, and New York time. So Tokyo at 9 a.m. in Tokyo, the Forex market opens for them, and it goes all the way through until 6 p.m. in Tokyo. Then we have London session that opens at 8 a.m. in London, and then closes at 5 p.m. in London. New York, as you can see, we have two. We have an 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. This is the Forex time, Forex market open. And then we have the 9:30 till 4 p.m., which is, of course, the New York Stock Exchange open. So 2 different opening times for New York. 9:30 a.m. has a lot more volume come in because there's a lot more traders that start at the stock exchange open, and mainly traders from New York will trade on the stock exchange as opposed to Forex. But Forex does still pick up volume, a lot of volume in the New York session as well. So those are our 3 time zones that we are concerned about. Now, of course, in a later date, I will be going over picking a time zone to be trading. But for now, let's say that you want to trade London session, right? So 8 a.m. London opens, but you might not be in London. So what the heck time zone does this open? All you want to do is down here in this little time zone section, click that and put in whatever city or place that you are from. So say for instance, we'll do me, I am currently in Sydney. So Sydney, UTC plus 11. So just click that and it'll change these numbers down the bottom. This will set your time zone to your local time zone, whatever time zone it may be. So we know London session is at 8 a.m., but this is the, of course, Sydney time. So what time is that? We have no idea. What we want to do, I kind of did this back to front, but say that we are set to Sydney time and we want to trade London. You just need to scroll up, find London. Where is London? London, right here. Click London, and then we know the opening time in the local time zone. So you want to go ahead and find 8 a.m. because this is now currently the local time set to London. We can find 8 a.m., put a yellow line as we do here. Doesn't have to be yellow. Then change it back to your time zone. So change it back to Sydney, and we can see 19 o'clock, which is 7 p.m. my time, is when the 8 a.m. London session opens, at least for now, until daylight savings comes in. But even when the daylight savings comes in, if you're in Sydney or if you're affected by daylight savings and you don't live in one of these places, by the way, Tokyo does not change their daylight savings. So your clock moves back an hour, you'll be trading back an hour. But all we want to do is switch our time zone to whatever the local time is, and that way it'll be super simple, super easy to figure out what time the session opens, because there definitely has been times, especially my first time going through the daylight savings, the time changed. I had no idea. I started trading at the same time. Turns out it was a different time, and I was taking losses that I shouldn't have been taking. But that is, of course, important to learn, and we have just learnt that here. So that is an easy way to find the session time that you want to be looking to trade. Another thing to note, which is also important, is that different pairs, like Forex pairs up here, are going to be moving differently in the different time zones. So you want to relate your currency pair that you are looking to trade with the session time that you are also looking to trade. So me, for example, I have the GBP/USD. That is what I'm looking to trade. You can trade this in either London session, being of course the GBP, or the New York session, being of course the USD. You basically just want to correlate your currency pair with the time that you are trading. I've added in a few examples of some pairs that we can look to trade in the certain times. So Tokyo, we have Oz JPY, Euro JPY, Oz USD. Basically for Tokyo session, you want to either find the JPY pairs or the Oz dollar pairs. Both of those pairs move pretty smoothly within that session. So if you are looking to trade Tokyo session, Aussie pairs or JPY pairs, that is your main focus, and those should be moving with some decent volume for you through Tokyo session, although Tokyo session is the session with the lowest volume out of these 3. Moving on to London session, we have GBP USD, Euro JPY, and GBP JPY. So of course we have the GBP or the Euro pairs. Those are the 2 that you want to be focusing on mainly, because they are going to be fully active while in London session. Of course, the banks within the GBP and the Euro, banks that use those currencies, are going to be active and going to be trading and going to be awake, and a lot of movement will be happening with those currency pairs. London session is also known as the Forex capital of the world. So London session does have, for Forex, the most amount of volume because it is actually the smallest sort of time zone. As you can see, this yellow line to the blue line is very short. But I've actually got one more thing to explain after I go through the New York pairs, and I'm going to start with the S&P 500, the NASDAQ. Those two are, of course, the stock exchange market, so you want to be waiting until 9:30 for those ones. And then any USD pairs basically will be moving through New York session. I think they would start at 8 a.m. I personally don't trade New York session because it's too late. It's literally the middle of the night for me when that happens. So I'm not looking to trade New York session, but I do believe that you would probably wait till 9:30 to be honest. But hey, I don't know, I haven't traded Forex through New York session, so I can't help you on that one, unfortunately. But New York session, you are looking to trade the S&P or the NASDAQ. Those two do move pretty good through that, with loads of volume, of course. Now, that last thing I want to say, obviously 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. London session is not just here till there. That is just way too short. What we want to do, we want to change our time zone back to London so that we can see this properly. And we want to set another line at 5 p.m. So 3, 4, 5 p.m. As we can see, make this line yellow. The New York session starts within London session still. So what does this mean? Well, whichever session we are currently in, that is the session who basically controls the currency, controls the movements at this point. So London session is active. London banks are in control of the money and moving the market and all of that, all the way up until New York session opens. It is at this point there will be new money coming into the market, and at that point the new money is going to influence where the old money, the London session, has been moving at this point. And there is a huge volume spike within this area, as we can see. A good example here, especially on GBP USD, because both currencies are active at the same time. So there is a crossover. There's not too much to worry about when you are trading, because you should be in and out in the morning before it gets to like lunchtime and then into that New York session. But of course you can still be in a trade, in an active trade, when that new money does come in. So you do have to be aware of it, and it is of course just something else that you should know. But that just about covers it for the session times, and of course it brings us to an end on the Blue Rose section of our course. There's not too much in this section, but it is very helpful and a good way to get started as well. So hopefully it has been helpful to you. Hopefully you've been taking some notes as well with all the information provided. Now we can head into the Red Rose tier, where we do a bit more chart work and start understanding some trading concepts.